Buenos días, buenas tardes o buenas noches, depende de la hora. Voy a explicar el proyecto por esta sesión. So in this tutorial, I'm going to kind of go over what we're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. It's your project assessment for this unit. Now, also on a side note, we do have parent-teacher conferences this week if you're on schedule. So with this, you are going to be looking up a Spanish country. You're going to come up with you're going to be turning in your notes, and ideally they are phrases and words in Spanish. Those are your notes. I want you to take notes in Spanish, phrases and words. Okay, that's what needs to be turned in, and I'll show you how that is going. That's also in the instructions on that page. You are going to do some peer editing with your rough draft, and that's the Proyecto Preliminar, and we'll have more instructions there. As well, you're going to have a couple of practice activities just to help you being able to access the Spanish that you already own, and one thing that's going to help you use some feedback to improve so that you can also make those improvements with your project. That's the idea. So notice you are going to have 9 days in which to complete everything. So that's this Tuesday through next Friday. Now, perdón. Now, let's go on. Sorry that my computer is moving slowly. Notice that I'm using the next button in order to move through the pages, which is of course what I want you to be doing as well. So you're going to miss a lot of instruction if you go through the grades to get to this. And I know that this is slow. Here we go. So if you're not sure about a country where they speak Spanish, please use this link here in the calentamiento to find a country. Then here we are on this, what you are going to need to include in your final project for this. It's basically going to be a menu in Spanish. Okay, things I want you to find out though about the country are some eating habits that you're going to read about in English. Foods and beverages, make sure that they are true to that country, not something that we might have here in like a Tex-Mex kind of country restaurant. It needs to be authentic for that country. So you're going to be going to resources that look at what do people eat there, not here. Okay, so make sure on your menu, everything must be in Spanish in your menu. Let me say that again. Everything must be in Spanish on your menu. I do not want to see any English anywhere. It needs to be very simple, using the Spanish that you can, not the English that you want to. All right, so you're going to need to include at least 2 beverages that you found out that are common in that country, at least 3 dishes. You need to tell me, are they typically eaten for breakfast, lunch, and or dinner? Okay. 1 dessert, that is it, apart from the 3 dishes. Now, for the 3 dishes and the dessert, those 4 items, you need to tell me 2 ingredients in each. What are 2 things that are the primary ingredients? And yes, you may have to look up a word in Spanish. Then you're going to give me 1 descriptive phrase for all of these, both for the beverages, the dishes, and the dessert. So 6 different descriptive phrases that is going to kind of tell us what it's like. Is it a salty, savory dish? Es salado. Is it something that's sweet? Es dulce. Okay, that's a descriptive phrase, okay? Now, you also are going to include 1 recipe from that country. This is going to be in English, and this can just be copied over from the site that you found it on, okay? If there is a unique opportunity to earn some extra credit here, I do not do this often. If you make this recipe, and you're going to show me a picture of it, and write a very short critique of it in Spanish. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Me gusta porque, no me gusta porque. You can include in there like what you needed to add, so some of the ingredients. Once again, you keep it very, very simple. What can you say about it in Spanish? That critique in Spanish is how you're going to earn your extra credit as well as the fact that you made it. So you need the two things together. Okay, so take a picture of it and write a very short critique of it. Just a few sentences works. Okay, so also there is an example here that of a presentation. Notice that if you have any issue accessing it, you may need to come up above and you'll have a warning and you'll be able to load the unsafe script, and that will allow you to see this. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you watch the student or look at the student's presentation because it gives you a good idea of what I'm looking for. So first thing then that you're going to come to that you actually need to do is tell me which country you have selected. No more than 2 students in class can have the same country because you are going to be sharing this out. We don't all want to know about the same country. Okay, so you'll write down the name of the country, ideally in Spanish. And then if you're the first person to write that country's name down, then you're number 1. And if you're the second person, then you put a 2. And if there's already a 2 there, then you cannot choose that country. Then the next one is going to explain about your notes, silueta. It's organization of your notes. What did you find? You may have used, I give you a template for notes to help you record some things. There are also links to different countries that you can go to and or find things on your own. You do need to make sure that you are saving the information of where you're finding your information. Now for your silueta, it could just be the note catcher, the note that you wrote it in as you wrote it up. But I do want it a little more organized. So you could also use one of these linked organizers for notes so that it could be a web. If you're more linear, it might be a listing. Okay, here's how these are going to organize themselves. What is your menu? Kind of how does it all fit together in that menu? Now, so that's going to be turned in here. Make sure that you have shared whatever it is that you used. There's a tutorial. Then you're going to do the proyecto preliminar is your rough draft. This is actually you're going to submit a portion of it, or you're going to submit actually just the written piece, no images with this, over here in this discussion. Then once you've submitted yours, make sure you either go to the next or the previous so that it'll load everybody else's comments. And there's also this here to help you. You're going to come back and respond to others in which you've reviewed at least 2 others' work. And in your review of them, in the reply, think through, was something confusing? Then you can ask a question about it. If everything made sense, you could always ask something that might go deeper. That would make sense to ask. So ask 1 question, give 2 positive comments, and then 3 potential ways to improve the project. Okay. Now, things that you could look at to help them improve are these links that are on editing and proofreading. They are meant for English, however, the exact same errors are typical in your Spanish, so they can be a helpful resource. So you can also use it for your own as you're proofreading your own work. Make sure somebody has replied to you before you go on and do your final one. So let me actually go to the next portion for the project, because that will also be a discussion. And here it is. So you will be uploading your image or your image, I apologize, your project or a link to your project here in this discussion. Make sure it has been shared with anyone who has the link, or so when you're doing this, it's easiest to use the insert content. The link is if you are going to an external link and copy it in here, as well as, whoa, look at that, random ones in there. And then down below as well, and just insert that. Okay, and that can go into the project itself. You could also, if it's here we are, if it's something coming off of your computer, and I know very few of you are going to be doing that, then you'd want to come down below and put in a file from there. Okay, so that would pull from your computer, but most of you are going to be using a web-based one. Therefore, I want you to use this upper insert content and then the link there, because that will put it into the comment section. And it's easier to access. Okay. So the next page is going to say that it is also for this project, or later on. That's just going to be in here. You are going to be graded on your discussion. And then I have a separate place where you are not submitting anything. It is just for me to record how you did on the project itself. So that's all I have. Let me know if you have any questions. Y hasta luego.